All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're on the road here. It's Just Plain Living. I'm John Gray, and I'm here with my buddy and my surrogate sister, Miss Peggy Burton.
Good morning, Mr.
How
John
you?
Gray. I'm fine. You know what? I'm just glad to be alive.
Me too. Me too. We were talking about the South Jackson Goes Country show.
Yeah,
Y'all are
we
working
think
on
it's coming
commercials
off.
and stuff.
We've already decided about how to seat people. We can only seat 50%, but that's all right. You know,
Yeah.
we'll seat 50%.
Seat 50%.
So people that want a ticket need to call in right away.
Yeah, I was at a meeting downtown yesterday in what used to be the city park, where Small World was,
Oh,
Sam
yeah.
Goldberg's store, right next to London's, and of course Joe Keller owns that now, and he's turning that into an outdoor facility. And we had a meeting about downtown and some of the things that are being done there. I got some video of that, and we'll have that
good.
for you at a later date. Two women from the state were in there. That we've completed one level of downtown grant stuff, and they were there to congratulate. And
Wonderful.
And Joe was asking me, Joe said, "Man, I want to open up, but I just don't know how to open up." And I said, "Well, you've got this outside facility right here." I said, "Just open up out here."
I think so.
And open. He said he was thinking about opening from like 5 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight, and when it's cool.
And it's really up to people to separate themselves,
Well,
to decide in what area they can sit with people they know.
Yeah, and
accustomed
I told Joe, I said, Joe, you put your people in masks and gloves, and you require that whoever comes in here have masks and gloves on, and if they don't get to come in.
There you go.
You get to control.
Because
this is your
it's
business.
Your place, and you get to do it.
And
yeah.
what you want to do is make the people know that you respect their health enough that you're doing everything you can for your customers to be safe. And if they don't like that, they can go somewhere else.
I went to get my eyes checked this week at Tullahoma Vision, and we call before we go in the door. Somebody opens the door. We don't touch the door.
Right.
And they're so very careful, but it's not really a big deal. You just get used to kind of a new format.
Sure.
But anyway, I was pleased.
So it was a good meeting we had, and a lot of good things going on downtown Tullahoma. So y'all go down there if you hadn't been downtown in a while. Go down there and roam around.
Yeah, there's things to see
There's
and
some
do.
great things on the horizon, and the city is planned on having a sort of a reopening of downtown before all this Corona stuff started.
Yeah.
To show what's been done, and of course it's designated as an arts and music district, and we're planning on having working on an alley walk.
Oh, that's cool.
And get some art up in the alleyways. And the city's bought a piece of property behind the 101 building. Used to be the old glove factory. It's just been a piece of concrete back there. And on the back of the 101 building, there's a beautiful
Mural
that's been drawn. Well, the city bought that parking lot and a building back there. So all of that's going to be transformed into sort of a walking area, a place where people can park, but also place where people can gather
and sit down. Do they
sit
have
down?
seats?
It's being worked on, and the alleys are going to be cleaned up
That's
and painted
wonderful.
up. And
So that we're cleaning up the town.
cleaning up downtown,
Getting ready to showcase.
and one of the garden clubs has adopted one of the islands downtown, and now they have a maintenance crew that's been hired to come keep all the trash out of them and the weeds out of
Garden
them.
Club has done a lot for us,
Oh yeah. And so what they're looking
town.
for is, we have these islands, specific islands down there, and they're looking for sponsors. To come in, maybe a business, and go, okay, I'll buy the plants. I'll buy the plants for this one, and make sure that it gets planted the way everybody wants it planted.
So it's being done in contributions from businesses.
Sure. So
very nice.
But it's great because we do have a neat little town, and a lot of people come here, and we want them to see what's going on down there.
And there's quite a bit going on.
Yeah, and parking. Parking is an issue that everybody has a problem with parking. But the one thing the lady from the state said if you don't have a problem with parking, you've got a bigger problem than parking.
Right.
You know, a problem with parking means that
there's a lot of
people want to be there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on. So that's.
I remember being in Boston, and we in the streets. It was so busy that sometimes maybe somebody would be dropping something off for the cleaners. They just stop right there in the middle of the street, and you got to wait
Walk inside.
till they get in and come out. So you know, maybe we'll get that busy.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. And you know, we're trying to figure out statewide, I guess, and citywide and countrywide who's going to school and when they're going to school and how they're going to go to school. And
I believe Tullahoma's opening up on the 29th. Am I right?
Of
July.
July.
I believe so.
Possibly so. And we still don't know about football.
I know, and we're just waiting.
Waiting to hear on that. And of course, John Olive's going to let us know when he hears about that, what's going on. And so we'll just see.
Hopefully they'll get to play.
Well, they'll get to play. They're going to have to play.
Well,
even if they don't have anybody in the stands, they need to play.
Well, and you know,
but they need
you can get
money.
in the stands and put on your mask and separate yourself.
If they will.
If they,
sheep is dumb.
Somebody has to do it.
I remember we did a play at church one time, and it was about sheep and you know the flock
and how they follow.
And one of the statements that kept reoccurring in this tableau was that boy just shake his head and say sheep is dumb. Yeah, they need guidance, and we're a bunch of sheep that need guidance.
Yeah, and if one decides to walk off the cliff, the whole group follows.
But if you've got a herder that's out there trying to show you how to be safe and survive, you know, it's a good thing to pay attention.
Oh yeah.
Because it's good for you.
It's important not to have the mindset of sheep.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Make up your own mind.
That's true. And you young people, be wise and be careful about what you do and how you do what you do.
Right.
Hey, I wrote a little something. I've got something I'm going to read later on in the show, but this is a short piece that came to me, and I want you to realize that this is not just about food.
Okay.
This is about life experience as well, just sort of with cooking in mind and what happens, but it also happens in life. I realize that cooking something up is an adventure where you take chances that may have long-term effects. Some dishes are exceptional and quickly consumed to the pleasure of all, with no ill effects. Then there are those experiments that are thrown together with no thought of the aftermath. Heartburn, diarrhea, uncontrollable, intolerable flatulence, or at least a stinky storage facility. So be prepared to follow the ripples of your actions and resolve the problems created by the leftovers.
That's good, yeah. I had to think real deep about that.
Well, I get too deep sometimes.
We've all got to be responsible for what we decide. Like, I know full well there's certain things that I should not eat.
Right.
And I'll be able to leave it alone for weeks at a time. And then all of a sudden one day, and every time it comes back to bite you in the butt. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But, you know, I heard a sermon, this was in a sermon one day, and it was talking about, and it's happened to me, watch out what you say.
Oh, yeah.
And where you say it, and particularly around little people.
Right, because they'll perceive.
But they pick it up
things.
and remember
Exactly.
it, because the ripples of what you say, just like throwing a stone in the water, you don't know downstream how that's going to affect what's going on downstream. And particularly when you're talking with young people, because they're sponges.
Oh, yeah.
They soak it up, and you have no idea.
And they remember.
And yeah, almost like an elephant, like my wife, like you women. Y'all don't forget nothing.
Oh, some of us do.
Do you? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I forget things. Sometimes,
Okay, so
but that's life. That's
yeah,
life.
it is life. And your life's good
It is.
so far.
So
Everything's
far,
going
I've
good.
been very blessed. I have been blessed.
How's
yes.
General Burton doing?
Oh my gosh, they're
My buddy,
they're
my
like
hero.
They're like the rest of us. They're hanging in there. In Virginia, and they're in almost total lockdown and all that, but
Right.
but they're doing fine.
Good,
They're
good.
fine. Yeah.
All
Working
right,
like everybody
that's
else.
Great. That's great. We just want everybody to remember to be safe out there and pay attention and realize that the mask you put on or the precautions you take aren't necessarily just to protect you, but they're to protect the people around you. So be
Are we gonna
careful
wish
and
happy
mindful.
Birthday?
Huh?
Should we wish happy birthday to somebody real special
Miss
today?
Luella?
Yes.
Miss Luella Pyle's birthday today. She's 103.
What a wonderful human being.
And her family, she and Paul Pyle, there's Paul right out here, not 200 yards from us, where we're sitting right now is the Paul and Luella Pyle Bridge.
I know.
And what they gave to this community, we're very fortunate in our small community to have families and individuals who step up and make a difference
And give.
and give
And
give
with no
and give.
strings. With no strings.
Yeah.
I have such fond memories of both of them, and her husband Paul. My association with him was more about dulcimers.
Right.
And he started the Dulcimer Festival, and it went really well. Lots of people came from all over.
And I've stated this before. I think one of the biggest mistakes that we've had in this town was doing away with that, and somebody not embracing that, because it was going really well.
It really was.
And by now, could be our Bonnaroo. That could be our horse show. There could be people come. Well, there already were people coming from other countries.
Yeah.
This thing could be huge right now, but it just wasn't quite what somebody wanted to do.
You have to keep pushing to make something like that take hold and hang on. But there's still dulcimer groups here in Tullahoma.
Yeah. Anybody can be a starter.
I own a dulcimer.
Do you?
Do you know
Can
how to
you play it?
I could. I'd have to rehearse again.
I can play one. Whether anybody would recognize that it was music or not is another thing.
I think mine came from Berea, Kentucky. They were into a lot of folk instruments, and that was a nice
Well,
thing.
what we're going to do right now is take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with the rest of today's show. Don't go away. We have some interesting information for you, some fun cats out there in the studio audience right now. They're going to come up here, and we even have a prince and a princess here today. Or a prince. I see the prince out there. So we'll be right back after these messages.
Hello, I'm Ray Noyes. This is a critical time in Tullahoma. On August the 6th, voters will have an opportunity to elect a new mayor, one who can provide proven, experienced leadership, one who knows how to get things done and keep Tullahoma moving. I recognize the value of Tullahoma's excellent school system. Our system is recognized as one of the best in the state, and I'll ensure that our schools continue at that level. I will not vote to raise property taxes in order to have a balanced budget until all other options have been exhausted. I'll work closely with our city staff to ensure that my fiscally conservative values are incorporated. I've served on all city boards involved in economic development. I see that as a way that we can broaden our tax base and avoid a property tax rate increase. Some developers have had issues with our planning and codes department. I'll commit to these improvements. There'll be consistency in the instructions from planning and codes without changes from day to day. And there'll be predictable timelines for providing delivery dates for plan reviews, permits, and inspections. Timelines that will be met reliably. Now, while we can't do much about the traffic on 41A and 55, we can improve our local streets and sidewalks. And this I commit to do. So I ask for your vote for proven, experienced leadership.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to have two of Tullahoma's finest on the stage with me today. We were talking about Tullahoma families earlier, and I am so proud, although my name is John Gray, to be called in some circles that little couch boy. And particularly at the First Christian Church here in Tullahoma. Today I have my wife Fran and my dear sister Candy on the stage with me, and the two girls have some information and an announcement to make about one of the Tullahoma families that has given and served in this community for 125 years. Fran?
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
We're very honored that you decided to come into the Couch Clan almost 46 years ago.
46 years.
Yes, yes.
Well, who shot the arrow?
There she
Candy
is. She's
Cupid.
the one.
Yeah.
She's the Cupid that got it all to happen. There's
That's
no
right.
doubt.
That's right. We do have some exciting news. I say exciting. It's an impactful piece of information for our family and for the community. But Couches, after 125 years, is going to be changing. We are closing our doors as a retail spot in Tullahoma after 125 years. And we are full of different emotions about this. We are so grateful that Daddy Billy, our great-grandfather, had the vision and desire to serve railroaders back in 1893 with the opening of W.J. Couch and Company as a grocery store, and then how things evolved over the years with our grandfather, Robert Laughlin Couch Sr., and his love of electronics and photography, and then our dad, who followed in his dad's footsteps, Robert Laughlin Couch Jr., also better known as Bob, for his contributions in the photography business as well as electronics and appliances. And then Sister Candy with her beautiful skills as a photographer. Daddy did put cameras in our hands when we were very, very small, and we still like to shoot. I keep thinking, I wonder what he'd think about all these cell phones taking pictures.
I don't think we want to know.
Well,
He would say something funny.
I said something earlier about Luella Powell, and it's her birthday today, and we congratulate her. And I said something about the Paul Powell and Luella Powell Bridge right down the road. We also have the Bob Couch Highway in Tullahoma, and those two men together probably were the chroniclers and sharers of history in Tullahoma for 50 years at least.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
or more, 50 to 60 years. Both of those guys loved, and Bob Couch specifically loved dearly Tullahoma, Tennessee, and the business of Tullahoma, Tennessee, and gave and supported, as the rest of the family has, for 125 years, the well-being of Tullahoma, Tennessee through being a merchant, being a good neighbor, a good friend, a helping hand.
Mm-hmm. Daddy loved to help people, and I think he had difficulty receiving help in his later days. He was more of a giver, I think. But he did love, and I'm not sure if he enjoyed relaying history or making history more. He enjoyed being in the center of things and making history and telling stories. But again, we are so grateful for their vision. We're grateful for the way the community has supported Couches all these years, and it's the patronage, the support, the storytelling, all the things that go into making a business what it is. And Couches has its own personality, I think. It's not only is it a retail spot, but it's become a place of history, a museum in its own right. Daddy would love to talk about his archives back there, and he got teased about them.
He would say anybody that's going anywhere came right through Couches.
Well, and the thing about it is, Candy, to your credit and your love of the community, you've done the same thing as your father did.
Thank you.
You're the Chamber of Commerce. If you're a stranger in Tullahoma and you go to the Chamber of Commerce, after they give you their pitch, they're sending you straight to Couches, because that's where you're going to find out the real deal. And Candy has become a wealth of knowledge of not just, and I'm very proud of her, she knows more about nuts and bolts and stove eyes and oven stuff and camera parts and pieces than I could have ever figured out.
Well, it was just because I was there and I listened and I learned, and same with my photography, watching Daddy and listening to him as he showed cameras and camera talk and picture talk with people. And I think Fran and I we appreciate and love lots of quotes of Daddy's, but two that really stand out with us, and that's when our memory dims, we still have our pictures. And the other, which is my favorite, I don't know about Fran, but it's history, which we all love, but history and photographs and love, the one thing that they have in common, in order for them to be effective, they must be shared. And
Yes.
Daddy lived that. And I think through him, we still carry that.
Still
we
doing
still carry
that.
that towards.
And you know, it's hard to say what the future might bring. But there are some things in the works that I think will be exciting, and where the essence of Couch will live on.
Certainly. Look what all it's been. It started with a grocery store, a restaurant, electronics, photography. We have some clothes and hats, and like you said, all the parts
Picture
back there.
frames
Sure.
and
So the show will go on, just in a different way.
That's right. And I surely hope that you're going to keep taking pictures.
As long as I can keep my shutter steady.
You need to get one of those no-shake cameras.
Hey, maybe I'll just shake the camera will hold still. But also, we want to thank we've had a wonderful, wonderful relationship with our employees through the years, and we want to thank especially Annie Crumley, who has been with us so many years, and she was with us 39 years full time and still gives us time each month, and she's family to us. And
her birthday was
Sunday.
Yes.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Annie.
Yes. Yeah, Annie came to work with our grandfather in 1961. She had just gotten out of high school in Manchester, and I was just going into first grade, and Candy was shortly behind me going to school, and Annie started then, and she is like our family. And we always got tickled. Daddy enjoyed having a lot of teenagers work at the store, and often, I'd say the boys in particular, were called the floor managers because they would sweep the floor. And of course, we believed, we still do, but we serviced what we sold. And so we had a large repair department for appliances. The very back of the store was where the appliances were repaired, and there would be 2 or 3 gentlemen back there working on appliances or delivering them. For years, somebody would install antennas before cable, of course. We sold antennas and would put them
For
up.
television. Well, I guess
Right.
your grandfather was the first television person in Tullahoma.
He had the first color TV in Tullahoma, and he also had the first radio station in his living room.
Yeah, he built the first radios. He had been trained at Georgia Tech, and he was a Marine. And so he had the first little radio station, and there were some sisters, the McQuitty sisters, who would come over and play the piano and sing on the air right out of their house. And sometimes he would run it out of couches out on the sidewalk. But John, when you and I got married and decided to open Daddy Billy's in 1975, that was a way to perpetuate our family story, because Daddy Billy had opened the grocery store on the site of where Daddy Billy's Delicatessen was opened.
Right.
And even though we sold that business years ago, we have been so glad that it has continued, and it's doing very well. We're proud of that. Again, we could not have done that without our family and our friends, and it was just a really incredible experience for us as a young couple to bring something like that to Tullahoma. It was hard work, and I said,
restaurant business is hard work.
Very hard, but we're glad that it has continued, and we know, like Candy said, that the future holds some great things for Tullahoma and for our family, and we're excited about the prospects and about what's going to be happening at 117 Northwest Atlantic Street. Daddy has always said that Tullahoma was the dimple of the universe, and so we invite all people,
Lots of dimples.
aliens of the planet, or aliens of Tullahoma, to come and visit this great community. We do love it. Daddy loved talking about it's having the widest street in the world, Atlantic Street.
Well, and Bob was on our show for years doing Millennium Moment, and which we started after we were supposed to. The whole world was supposed to decay at the stroke of midnight in 2000, and of course it never did happen. So Bob figured he better gear up and start telling some history.
Right.
And he was on the show for years and years, and we still replay some of Bob's segments from time to time, because the history of life and the history of our community doesn't disappear, and it doesn't change. It's still the same, and it's still beautiful, no matter who's telling the story of that specific incident. Of course, it's tinted through their eye, the lenses that they look through, but Bob still tells, and is so gracious in the way he delivers and teaches. And one of the things about you two that I've heard from both of you that has always been endearing to me about him is how he took time to take the two of you with him to learn how to properly use a camera and how to and use proper etiquette when you're filming certain events, and how to film at a wedding, and how to do what you do, realizing that the whole story's not you. You're chronicling the story in a way that you're not abusive to the situation. And I just think his thoughtfulness to teach and to care, not only to his two daughters, who both I love dearly, but to our community, as did his father, as did his grandfather, held this community dear, and you have both as well. And I think the involvement in the future, we had a meeting yesterday, as I was talking about downtown, about what's happening downtown, and folks, the Couch property will be a great part of what's getting ready to happen downtown.
That's right.
And the history will live on, the storytellers will still be around. So don't worry about that, just watch and wait, because what's getting ready to happen is going to be a good thing.
John, before we close, I want to give kudos to the women in the life of Couches too.
For sure.
Our grandmother, Annabelle Couch, stepped off the train as a bride. She and our granddaddy met out in Dallas, and he fell in love with her immediately, and she put him off. She said, I'm finishing college first, which she did. But she worked in Couches alongside our grandfather. And Mother went to work with Daddy in 1967 in Couches, and she still goes in occasionally, but I think she looks at her desk and runs.
Well, and
So do I.
Dot had a position or a good job out at the base.
Yes, but Daddy needed her.
Daddy needed help.
When our grandfather died unexpectedly, and he said, I need you to come in and help me. And so she did, and they were great partners in Couches.
And in life.
And our Aunt Cersei ran the grocery store during the war when Mr. Rainey, the butcher, was gone, and of course Daddy Billy was getting older, and she really enjoyed that. I know Aunt Dot stuck her head in from time to time and worked there some, and I enjoyed typing and running the adding machine when I was a little girl. I'd get in trouble for that, but I enjoyed that and working there until the birth of our son. And then Candy has perpetuated the business, and I'm just so grateful for her. And she is much like Daddy in that she makes people smile and laugh, and she is a great person behind the camera as well as in front of the camera. So I'm very grateful for that too.
She's the Christmas parade. Fuller just shows up. Candy is the Christmas parade.
Right.
And it was so funny
He just wants a good
when somebody
Christmas
else
present.
went into competition the first year that LightTube, who we are friends with and do work with as well now, a woman called up and said, well, where's Candy? Why isn't she on the Christmas parade? And I said, your husband must have switched you to LightTube. And she was upset because Candy knows the town. She knows the kids. She's photographed all those little kids that are in this parade. She makes it her business to know the history and know what's going on in this town, to where she can lift it up and hold it up and be a bright spot, shining a light on what Tullahoma is. And she will continue to do that, just in a different way.
Yeah.
And that you'll still be able to see that beautiful face and that smile, and yeah, she'll crack a joke on you every now and then. There's no doubt about that.
That's right.
So,
Better watch out.
They're not going away.
It's not the end
Just
of the
like
story.
Daddy
There's a lot
said,
more to come.
There's a lot more to come. Just keep your ear to the ground, keep
Stay tuned.
watching. And girls, from all of us, particularly an outsider looking in, but sort of inside, I've snuck my way in a little bit. With all our hearts, with all our love, this community in so many ways thanks you for who you are and what you've done. And it's not the end of the story.
That's
Just
right.
wait and see. There's more coming.
That's right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
girls.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll be back after these messages.
Yeah. Ooh.
My great-grandfather started it in 1900, and now it's 2020, which is 120 years. We still measure your feet, still try to help you find a good fit. We're just a good old-fashioned shoe store where we'll measure your feet, make sure you're in the right size, and help you find a comfortable shoe for men, women, and children.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
about this and that. It's Conversations with John and Pat, with John and Pat, with John and Pat.
Hello, I'm John Rickman, and this is
Pat Welch, and we're here for the 17th edition of Conversations with John and Pat.
If we miss one or two along the way, Pat, maybe no one will notice. If we get that out of order, if we get the number wrong.
Oh, these things
17 is correct.
They'll be archived and it'd be incredible.
I'm going to do one about our family reunions. When I was a kid, we'd drive out Iggleville Road out of Chapel Hill out to my grandfather and grandmother's house, and this is what we'd do. We'd have family get-togethers back when I was just a lad. We would finish milking early, then dress in the best we had. After Mama fried the chicken and our hair was brushed and combed, we'd all load up in the truck and off to Granny's we would go. In Granny's house, a little kid had hardly room to stand. Folks laughing loud and hugging, slapping backs and shaking hands. So I'd sneak off with the cousins till it's time to say the grace. Uncle Ike would give the blessing, then us kids would take our place. We sat at the second table eating chicken necks and wings, a leftover dab of gravy juice and fat back from the beans. Fresh peach cobbler without peaches, melted ice cream from the churn. Wasn't very much to choose from once them grown-ups had their turn. I sat at a folding table on a black piano stool. I could hear them grown-ups talking way off in another room. All the ladies swapping gossip between each bite and happy sigh. Grandpa Lil would tell a joke and they'd all laugh until they cried. Old Aunt Myrtle kept complaining about the new shoes on her feet. All the men kept on bragging about the good things they had to eat. How their plates all needed sideboards 'cause food was piled so high. I just sat back in my corner wishing for a breast or a thigh. We sat at the second table eating chicken necks and wings, a leftover dab of gravy juice and fat back from the beans. Fresh peach cobbler without peaches, melted ice cream from the churn. Wasn't very much to choose from once them grown-ups had their turn.
John, that was. But I'm gonna tell you something. It sounded like you're in the lyrics. You're disappointed you didn't have any peaches, but you put the ice cream on that.
You know that
cobbler. Woo, man, that's as good as it gets.
You know,
that crust.
Today there's no limit of KFC chicken. You know, you have chicken business all in Tullahoma, and you can go to Kroger, Walmart, and buy all the many pieces that you want and fry them. But back that time, you didn't want to wipe out your whole flock. You know, so you'd only make so much chicken. You know, you wanted to keep some for another day, and so that's why it sometimes was in limited supply, and the kids didn't get the best pieces.
Well, John, where are we going today?
I want to tell you one, Pat. Jim Van Cleve, you know Jim Van Cleve. I want to tell
Chapel Hill roots.
Yes, Chapel Hill roots. We're like the Irish. We came to Tullahoma in the droves, you know, but
when times were hard, you came to the promised land.
Yeah, and people didn't really like us when we came, but we, you know, have been accepted now. But anyway, Jim Van Cleve said when he was in Chapel Hill, about a fifth grader or something like that, he said he just loved to sing all the time. He sang at the barn, he sang by the creek, and he had a farm, you know, he raised on the farm. And then one day, he was in school at Forest Middle School or elementary school.
John, at that time there was only one Forest school.
That's probably, yeah, that's right. Well, he was in about the 5th grade, and there was a high school girl that took over the class when the teacher was absent. So she says, I'm going to have fun with y'all today. We're going to have a singing contest. We're going to have I want you to sing. We're going to put you up in front of the class and let you each sing. And if you're good at singing, you will be a redbird. And if you are not so good at singing, you'll be a bluebird. And if you're no good at all, then you'll be a yellowbird, and you just have to go back to your seat. And Jim couldn't wait for his turn, so he got up there and And this one sang and that one sang. When he got up, this lady said, "Okay, you're a yellowbird, now go sit down and shut up." I guess he never sang after that. You know, Jim, that finished him up. And Jim is over 90 years of age right now.
Yeah, I've seen him recently. He's in awful good shape.
Right, right.
Now, where are we going, John?
Well, Mr. Robert.
We could do that. All right. I think John's wanting me to tell some Robert Ratcliffe stories, and I've got several of those.
We won't have time for all.
No,
Pat.
no, we'll just start on one and wait for production crew to tell us to get to quit. And Robert Ratcliffe married the oldest Harton daughter, Alice, and he and his brother came to Tullahoma, I believe, in the 30s from Selma, Alabama, and somehow his father felt like they would do better in school here. So they sent both of them up here, and Robert eventually married Alice after he was in the service in World War II, and had 3 fine daughters, and a great man. And in the Harton tradition, they did a tremendous amount for Tullahoma. There's no question about that. Mr. Harton had helped use political favors with Congress and so forth to help to get AEDC here. The family donated the land that Harton Hospital is on, and Mr. Harton's slogan that was on the old Harton Arcade about where everybody boosts and opportunity knocks. He believed that, and the family believed it. Though most of the family members watched their spending habits pretty good, and Robert was probably the kingpin of that. And even though he would share and buy things for Alice and his children, so he was pretty adverse to spending on himself. And what a character he was. First, I think I'll tell the golf one, because when I first came to Tullahoma to work at the Builder Supply, my day off was Tuesday, and so on Tuesday afternoon I'd go to the golf course, and one day was about 25. Mr. Ratcliffe and Mr. Bob Alford, who was pharmacist in town, they asked me to play with them, and I was just absolutely just thrilled to death. And it was like I was playing with 2 of the apostles or something. And I called him Mr. Alford and Mr. Ratcliffe. I wouldn't call him by first name if he'd given me a tremendous sum of money, but they were having a big time. And on the second hole, Robert hooked the ball out of bounds, and we went out in the bushes and the woods, and we looked, and we looked, and we looked. And about halfway through the look, I had probably invested more time looking for that golf ball than any of the ball I ever looked for. And I finally got Mr. Alford away from him a little bit. I said, "Mr. Alford, I cannot believe we're still looking for Mr. Ratcliffe's golf ball." And he said, "Pat, we hadn't been looking for Robert's ball in about 5 minutes." And I said, "Well, what are we still doing out here?" He said, "We're looking for better ones now." So that we just got to sign, John.
We're going to have to tell more of those stories, though, about Robert.
Robert was
plenty of them.
Great fella. And that does it for the 17th edition, John. Though it doesn't end the stories, we've got plenty more to come, if P. Head will allow us to do so. Thank you.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family, caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
The Horseplay Organization is one of my favorite nonprofits in this whole region. I have with me today Loretta, Demarius, and April from the Horseplay Organization on Highway 130. And we're going to introduce Demarius because he is the prince of horseplay.
For 2020.
And there is a princess.
Yes.
And Loretta, tell us a little about the princess because she couldn't be here today.
Her name is Amelia Anderson, and she is 10. She's a very beautiful little girl, blonde hair. And Demarius here is our prince for 2020. And he's handsome. I asked him to be my boyfriend. He looked at me like I was crazy. And this is his mother, April, and he's a student out at Horseplay, and he loves his horse.
Demarius, tell me what's your favorite thing about Horseplay, things you like to do.
I like putting on a snack, grooming them.
Can you say a little louder for me?
I like feeding them.
Oh, you like feeding the horses?
And grooming them.
Good. That's wonderful.
Walk them down to the barn.
And walking them to the barn. Are they easy? Do they ever try to get away from you?
Miracle just likes to eat snacks. I try to pull his head up with the rope.
Well, you've learned a lot, haven't you? How long have you been riding?
For 5 years.
5 years. Awesome.
I started when I was 3.
You started when you were 3. Could you barely hang on to the horse? You were so tiny? Do you remember how it made you feel?
No.
No?
You were a little scared,
but you do like to ride. April, how'd you find out about Horseplay?
One of my clients was on the board.
Okay.
And she got us the paperwork to sign up because at 2 he became obsessed with the movie Spirit.
With what?
With the movie Spirit.
Oh, okay.
Which is about horses. And so when he was old enough to sign up, she got me the paperwork. And he does therapy through Top Rehab.
That's
as
wonderful.
Well.
And it's helped him. I think it's wonderful. We have some.
It's
great
amazing
things.
therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the horses are great because they're so calm, and they're used to working with children with special needs. When he started, he had to have 2 sidewalkers because of the right side weakness that he had. But now he can do it on his own with just a leader.
With just a leader. Mm-hmm. And so all the children that go there to ride are kept safe because of,
absolutely,
of the people that are training and are helping with the horses. And I think it's important that we recognize the fact that all this is done for free.
Yes.
All the children that come to ride horses. So obviously this takes money, and that's where Miss Loretta Christian comes in. She is the world's best money raiser. You want to tell about a few things going on to raise funds. I know the brick is the big thing. Is that over?
No, ma'am. The selling of the memorial bricks will be ongoing from now on until we get our section built for our patio out there. And we you can buy a brick through Horseplay from, if you want to buy one, get in touch with.
And there's the website right there. Write that down.
Well, you can call Jean Kelly, or you can go on to the Horseplay website right there, or contact somebody that's associated with Horseplay.
Will the bricks actually be part of the patio, or are they going to?
Yes, ma'am. You buy a brick, and I think they're $75 a piece, and you fill out who you want it donated to in memory of, and
it can be to honor somebody that's alive, or it can be in memory of somebody that's died, or it can simply be to the name of a horse.
Yes, ma'am.
Because a lot of people get touched in different ways. I wanted to honor my daughters because she loved horses and animals of any size, shape, and form. And there are so many reasons, but the biggest reason is to help support this wonderful organization.
Yes, and Horseplay gets so much money for each brick that we sell. And after we'll start laying the brick when we decide where we want to put the patio, and we're going to plant a tree in the center of it, and in memory of someone, and it will grow, and we're going to have memorial benches out there that was made for our retired animals, our retired horses, and those who have passed.
That's wonderful.
Wood carver here in town did the names on them by hand.
You're kidding me.
No. And
that's
all
amazing.
Those beautiful signs out there that we're getting, he's the one that's done all of those.
And what's his name?
I can't
remember.
remember.
It's all right.
But
that just goes to show how many wonderful volunteers do step up to help to raise money or do things like that.
And one of the volunteers, the one Saturday when we were having the cleanup day earlier this year, took an old cedar tree that was out there, carried it home, got wood off of it, and made another bench, and it's going to be out there.
That's great. Yeah.
And then we're going to have we're doing a mum sale once they get where we can order them. If anybody wants to order a mum, there'll be $15 a piece, and Horseplay will get a set amount for every mum that Horseplay sells that will go towards paving the parking lot this year for our children, that so that the wheelchairs can be pushed from the car or truck or van into the riding arena.
That is really important because a lot of the children cannot walk in here like Demarius did, and they do have to be on a wheelchair, and they need a safe place to be pushed into place so that they can be put on a horse and have 4 legs under them. To me, that is the most touching thing.
They love their horses. They love to ride, and it's the horses miss the children when they're not there.
I'm sure they do.
They really do, and the children miss being there.
Yeah.
And this year has been extra hard on the children and the horses as well.
How many times a week do you get to ride, Demarius? Do you know? It's all right. It's okay.
Once.
One time a week.
Yeah.
And you go? Do you go early? And how long? Do you know how long you stay?
I go in the afternoon.
Oh, you go in the
After
afternoon. Does it matter with the horses how hot it is? Are they okay when it's hot?
A lot of times if it's too hot, they get a moment to give them baths, hose them down, stuff, instead of riding outside when it's too hot.
Now, I know that you weren't able to do your luncheon this year, but you are getting to do the event over in Lynchburg.
Yes, ma'am. So far, the barn dance is on a go, and we're going to have it September the 19th.
Oh, 19th.
That's on a Saturday night. Starts at 6 and goes until 9:30. Miss Peggy's and the South Jackson Street Band's going to be playing the music. We're having a live auction. Joe Orr's the auctioneer. We're getting donations, and anybody who wants to donate something for the auction or who wants to sponsor a child or several children, just contact us and we will be glad to.
You know, I'm always, when I see people and if they have a saddle hanging around the house, I'm always pushing them to donate to Horseplay. Do y'all have enough saddles?
We can always use any tack that
That's what
anybody
I
wants to
figured.
donate.
And horse blankets and different things that are needed, you guys have to go out and pay for it.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's such a wonderful organization, and I can't thank you enough for being here to talk about it, and we'll want you to come back, of course.
Yes, ma'am.
But the thing to remember, buy a brick, $75 toward horseplay for your name or someone else's name on a brick. That's not too much
No,
money.
ma'am.
That's
You get 3 lines.
Yeah. And it's tax-free.
Everything.
Which gets be put on your income tax return.
All donations are tax-free. We are a 501c3 nonprofit here in Tullahoma, and we have over 60 children that ride at Horseplay.
I think we have some video from when we crowned the queen, and the prince and princess, and they're going to be at the
yes, ma'am
thing. Are we going to show that now? Yes. Okay. Sorry. We're showing it now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're out at Horseplay today with some of the young people that are involved out here, and I think we're going to have some sort of a ceremony and showing, I think it's going to be the king and the queen today, so we'll find out what's going on. I'm doing good. How you doing this morning? Look at all these good-looking gals coming down through here. Good-looking fella right there. There's Peggy Burton with a pink hat.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Huh? Aren't these girls looking good? Hello, dear.
I need to buy the hat.
Hello, young man. Yeah, look at all these good-looking folks coming in here. This is Horseplay. Look at here. Here's a real princess right here if I've ever seen one.
I've always loved you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are out at Horseplay, and today we're going to crown, or we're going to watch the crowning of the king and queen of Horseplay. These young people, and the folks are behind them that help them, their parents, and some of the folks that work with Horseplay, and that is. They come on our program and talk to us quite often, and what we're doing here is this is a culmination of some of their work. All right, there they are, and this is the Horseplay Century Trail, and a lot of this stuff was donated by Lowe's. So we want to give them thanks for being part of Horseplay.
Loretta Christian and Patsy Freeman.
This year we did something we talked about, but we've never done. We had picked a Prince, Demarius, and a Princess Amelia. And these are the horses that they had their photo shoot with a while back. This is Miracle, and that's Ziggy. And there are 2 of our therapy horses here at Horseplay. And so Patsy Freeman was one of the original founders of Horseplay 27 years ago, her and her husband.
Tells my age, doesn't it?
And so I've asked her if she would crown our princess, and I'm just somebody that works and does things for them.
That is not true.
Well, I try to organize things that will benefit the children, make it fun here for them, and bring money in to make Horseplay prosper and make improvements that are necessary that we need here. And this year, what the barn dance that we're planning in September, all the proceeds is going to pave a parking lot up there so that they don't have to go across the gravel and the grass with wheelchairs or anything like that to get into the arena for their sessions. Last year, every bit of that we made went to the bathroom. We have that. That was a dream, and it came true. And God blessed us, and I believe He'll bless us again this year so that we can raise enough that we can get our parking lot paved. I believe that with all my heart. And With that being said, would you do the honors, Miss Peggy?
And our first princess.
This is the first princess of horseplay.
First princess. Woohoo!
There you go. Isn't that wonderful?
And this is our Prince Demarius. He is a heartbreaker, I tell you. He is so handsome. I asked him if he'd be my boyfriend. He just looked at me. I could see it working through his head. You crazy woman. Demarius, this is your sash. You get to keep this. And you wear this anytime you go and talk to people about horseplay. And you get this is yours forever, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, our royalty for Horseplay 2020.
All right. The Prince and Princess of Horseplay. Congratulations.
And if y'all have any questions for them, they can answer, and just ask them whatever you want to ask them.
I'd like to know how old they are.
Okay.
Peggy,
Yes.
come over here.
Okay.
I can't hear you back there.
Can't hear me.
Get over there in front. Get over there with them.
Oh, you don't need to see me, but
Yes, I do. I want to see you.
I don't want to mess up the horse. I
No.
just want to know how old this young lady is.
I'm 10.
You're 10 years old.
And I'll be turning 11 in September.
And what grade are you in?
I'm going into 5th.
Okay. And the gentleman?
I'm 8 and
8 years old. Fabulous. You love to ride. What grade are you in?
I think I'm about to be in 3rd.
In 3rd.
There you
And
go.
I guess y'all are homeschooled most of the time these days. Most people are homeschooled these days. What do you like most about the horses, about riding the horses?
I like being with them and just getting to know them.
Because they're sweet, aren't they? They're very gentle and they're very smart. How about you? What's your favorite part?
I just like riding them a lot.
You ride a lot? Is this the main place that you ride horses? Well, you have these ladies and gentlemen around to thank for that and keeping this place open. It's wonderful. You're a fabulous couple, aren't they? Aren't they?
Yes, they are.
All right.
Fabulous.
The Prince and Princess of Horseplay 2020 with their horse friends and the folks out here at Horseplay who help them enjoy the wonderful, exhilarating experience of being around horses. And we're proud of all of them. And thank you, ladies, very much for what you do. And look at here, look at these parents around here and some volunteers, and everybody's here to support Horseplay, and we thank all of you.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no. This warrior will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate, Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
My good friend Beverly Long from the Long School of Dance recently did a dance recital at South Jackson Civic Center. In fact, that was our first on-stage event in a long time, and we're going to show some footage from that recital.
Come out, wherever you are, and meet the young lady who fell from a star. She fell from the sky, she fell very far, and Kansas, she says, is the name of the star. Kansas, she says, is the name of the star. She brings you good news, or haven't you heard? When she fell out of Kansas, a miracle occurred. It really was no miracle. What happened was just this. The wind began to switch, the house to pitch, and suddenly the hinges started to unhitch. Just then, the witch, to satisfy an itch, went flying on her broomstick, thumping for a hitch. Oh, what happened that was rich? The house began to pitch, and pitch into my stitch. It had not a wicked witch in the middle of her ditch. Well, not a situation for the wicked witch. The house began to pitch, and pitch into my stitch. It had not a wicked witch in the middle of the ditch. Well, not a situation for the wicked witch. Ooh, the wicked witch. What was the witch? To just a stitch. What was
Hello, I'm Ray Noyes. This is a critical time in Tullahoma. On August the 6th, voters will have an opportunity to elect a new mayor, one who can provide proven, experienced leadership, one who knows how to get things done and keep Tullahoma moving. I recognize the value of Tullahoma's excellent school system. Our system is recognized as one of the best in the state, and I'll ensure that our schools continue at that level. I will not vote to raise property taxes in order to have a balanced budget until all other options have been exhausted. I'll work closely with our city staff to ensure that my fiscally conservative values are incorporated. I've served on all city boards involved in economic development. I see that as a way that we can broaden our tax base and avoid a property tax rate increase. Some developers have had issues with our planning and codes department. I'll commit to these improvements. There'll be consistency in the instructions from planning and codes without changes from day to day. And there'll be predictable timelines for providing delivery dates for plan reviews, permits, and inspections. Timelines that will be met reliably. Now, while we can't do much about the traffic on 41A and 55, we can improve our local streets and sidewalks. And this I commit to do. So I ask for your vote for proven, experienced leadership.
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party, but things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her, and now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, I talked earlier about cooking. A couple weeks ago I wrote this, and I'm going to share it with you right now. It's called I Like the Kitchen. I like the kitchen. There are many ways to evaluate this area of the house, but I like the kitchen. I guess it's because I'm a creative, and many creative things happen in the kitchen. When I was a kid, I had a bird named Petey. In the mornings, Mom would open the door to his cage in the kitchen, and he would fly down the hall to my bedroom. He would land on my head and peck on it until I woke up and followed him back down the hall to the kitchen. I crawled up on a bar stool and surveyed the stovetop to see what was making the smell that pulled me through the door. Mom was a great cook, so the taste almost always lived up to the smell. Be it bacon and eggs, pancakes, oatmeal with brown sugar and raisins, or French toast, which seemed a bit weird to me, it was all good. My favorite, though, was biscuit with sausage gravy, a wonderful way to start the day. The best thing about the kitchen was that Mom was in it. From dawn's first light until night's last snack, Mom or her presence was there. When you opened the fridge in the middle of the night and found crustless cucumber cream cheese sandwiches, you could feel her presence in the darkness behind you. Then you'd put back the 4 in your hand, they'd put it back on the cut glass plate and sneak one and rearrange the tray so the glove-handed card-playing ladies would never know the difference. But Mom did. I found out years later that she made extra for my brother and me, but wanted to let us think we had pulled one over on her. She was cool that way. She always had our happiness on the front burner, no matter which room she was in. As I said, Mom was a great cook. She was raised a farm girl in Dixon County in Tennessee and knew how to cook Southern country. My dad grew up on a farm in South Louisiana. When they got married, Granny Gray taught Mom how to cook Cajun country. So I had the best of both worlds in the kitchen. Straight from New Orleans and Nashville to Druid Lane and Hood Drive, the food and music was always outstanding in our kitchen. It was always about the flavor. The food in other kids' houses just seemed to taste kind of bland. Mom's stuff had flavor, a pizzazz that allowed you to experience the nuances of different spices she used to create something other than just plain food. Mom knew flavor like a song that allowed your taste buds to dance with joy. Mom was a great cook. If I got up early enough, Dad would be in the kitchen, at the blender. Dress pants and shoes, sleeveless U-neck undershirt with a cigarette in his teeth. He'd mix up his morning drink, 3 raw eggs, some milk, sugar and vanilla flavoring, blend it up, choke down. A puff of smoke, coffee gulped, shirt and tie and jacket on, then off to work at the base. Dad wasn't much for talking in the morning. Like most military men, if you weren't at least 15 minutes early to work, you were late. Dad's afternoons in the kitchen were much more laid back. 5 o'clock in the kitchen meant martini time. Adulthood in the 50s and 60s involved a bunch of smoking and drinking. He would come through the back door, take off his jacket, loosen his tie, then crank up the blender or shaker for a working man's afternoon libation, martinis. Often 1 or 2 of his buddies would stop by for a cold one and some conversation on their way home. At that point, the kitchen transformed into a manly place to learn how the old boys played the game. The kitchen was in the middle of the front of the house, overlooking the front patio and circular drive. The kitchen window was a wonderful observation post for the daily battles of Company Gray of Hood Drive. But back to cooking. Other than running the blender, Dad's culinary skills revolved around being able to grill with the best. Why? He made a wicked good sauce, and grilling was always about the sauce. You can turn a round steak into a prime rib or a pork belly into a tenderloin with the right sauce. The grilling was done outside, but the sauce was a product of the kitchen. Dad taught me how to grill, but Mom taught me how to cook. Whenever I was around, I watched her. I learned the times, temperatures, spices, condiments needed to develop flavor in about almost anything. How much neutral, milk, water, flour, etc., could you add to fix a screw up? With all said and done, the most important thing is, if it is still cooking and not on the plate, you can never stir too much. Always tend your pot or pan with spoon or fork in hand. Stir to thin, stir to make thick, and you'll be the first one that gets the fork to lick. So while learning how to cook, stir, 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 until through experience you learn when to stop. It's the same with spices. There is no such exact measurement or combination. Throw them in until it tastes bad, and then don't do that again. Great cooking is an experiment with a little good direction to start with. That is what makes it so much fun for those with a creative spirit. There is always another flavor in the palate, on your hands that delights or disgusts the one's palate in your mouth, because they are all different as your tastes are. The plate or bowl is just another canvas that is painted on and painted over until the master creates a masterpiece. Yes, my friends, cooking is an art, culinary art, and art never stops expanding its boundaries. That's why you will find me in the kitchen, expanding my skills and forecasting flavors yet to come. Yes, it's true. I like the kitchen.
That was very nice. What a great way to honor your mom and your dad.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is honor you
No,
And
we
South
don't
Jackson
have
Band.
time to do it. We can't.
No video.
We'll talk about it next
Well, guess
time.
what? We'll show you that another time. Folks, thanks for watching. And again, I want to thank the Couch family for 125 years of service and dedication to the city of Tullahoma. We love you. They're not gone. Wait till you hear the rest of the story. We'll be back next time.